So for today's video, we are going to be testing a version of Token Spell Sword that is rather non-traditional. Mostly I really wanted to try out the new monthly reward card, so we're kind of playing up a bit on the life gain mechanic at the expense of good cards. But we're going to dive right in and play some games. This is just like all my other deck testing series. We're going to play 2 games on the ladder, see how it fares. There's enough core good token stuff here that I think that we might be able to sneak out a win. But just like on paper, when I was kind of playing around with ways that we could trigger and get long-term value out of the monthly reward card, I was realizing that most of the time I would rather just play regular token stuff, but I don't think we want 2 of these in the opener, since this is likely. Well, there we go. At least we get it right out of the gate. But since this is likely tribunal control,
I smell
we're gonna give this a go. Now we're rushing out the Barrow Stalker, not because we really care about draining this early, but mostly because if they don't have the execute, we can actually get immediate value.
Wrong place for a midnight stroll.
Look at that. We got a puppers. It's a good doggo. So now it puts pressure on him to remove this, which I assume he's got a million ways to do it. Again, he's playing Tribunal, but
if you're looking for trouble, you'll find it.
Otherwise, we get a fair amount of value. Interesting. We don't have a good way to get rid of it. So our options are we can either Cloud Rest that, or we can load the board. Kind of like loading the board because it sets up really interesting Disciple of Numera draw options the following turn. So
Wrong place for
we're going to go ahead
stroll.
and punch that, punch that.
Soldiers, report.
Your orders, your orders,
Now can
Yeah.
old courtesy yourself.
your orders, your orders.
Let's just go ahead and do it. So we go really wide. If we top deck like a Divine Fervor, it would be outstanding this turn. Though I don't think we'll be so lucky. The Disciple is, again, kind of the gold this following turn. We're not Token Crusader, so we don't have the, you know, bajillion options of card draw necessarily. Oh, the Imprison is so good too, except this lets us draw a bunch. So this is basically to develop this, draw 2 cards. This is potentially push damage. I think we just want to develop this still.
Wrong place for a midnight
We're going to do that because we want to gain the health. Right?
Acknowledged. Into the breach. I hear and obey.
Let's get the prophecy out of the way. Well, we were really hoping for no prophecy there. Probably shouldn't have broken the rune. Also, hindsight 2020.
Welcome to the
Into
shadow.
the breach.
Let's just draw the cards. We're gonna end up losing it anyway, but it lets it cycle. the big issue that we have to worry about here is Ice Storm.
By Arcade's beard, this
Right,
day
like
will be
that's
mine.
the elephant in the
Draw
room.
power
So,
from their blood.
well, that is a card I wasn't expecting to see out of Tribunal. Not in the least bit. So we do still have the Imprison. And then a damage push. I don't think we want to use too much of our hand because, again, Ice Storm is an issue.
Acknowledged. Into the breach. Wait.
So we're going to develop
Did you
that.
hear that?
I think we're going to leave the defenses in our hand. Call it. Alright.
I smell
That's
the
rather
stench of the
unfortunate
living.
as well.
Confound you!
And a Mammoth. So this is interesting. Mammoth now tells me between this and the Mammoth, I think he's actually on a mid-range and not control Tribunal, which does matter a fair amount for us. Like, it kind of drastically changes our plan. We don't have to worry as much about Ice Storm now.
Training is over. It's time to act.
Alright. Now I could just be walking right into it. He could just Ice Storm and wipe my board. And essentially be left with a Hive Defender, but... The Mammoth tells me that it is probably mid-range Tribunal. I'm really kicking myself over that first rune play mistake. 2 damage probably wasn't worth the risk. I could have played the Disciple and traded before we broke the rune, but my concern was if they hit a Lightning Bolt or Javelin, I didn't want the Disciple to get crushed. Either way, that was a massive play mistake on my part around that first rune, and we are now behind as a result, so trying to fight our way out of a hole. Not necessarily going the greatest for us.
Wrong place for a midnight stroll.
That is a big troll. So what do we want to do about it? What do we want to do about it? Alright, so I think we want to kill the vampire here, get this trade,
You can't
get rid of
defeat
this,
me.
this clears here, develop
I
a Barrow
smell
Stalker.
the stench of
It's the
the
best
living.
play that we have. We're kind of at a disadvantage with not having found like a Divine Fervor or an Amulet would be fantastic so that we could start getting long-term spirit value. Even more so knowing that they're running Shadowfen Priests in that build, so... And also still pretty hardcore mentally kicking myself over the misplay earlier. I'm not gonna lie.
Distraction might prove useful.
I believe the expression is tilted. Alright, so they got 4 more magicka. Oh yeah. Hey, speak of the devil.
Wrong place for a midnight stroll.
A little distraction might
Yeah.
prove useful.
I was debating whether or not I wanted to get the Cloud Rest out there or save it for trades, but saving it for trades doesn't really do us a whole lot if we have nothing to trade with, so might as well just get the body out there. We know we're going to lose this, not much we can do about it. At least this lets us start generating long-term value.
You must be cleansed.
Or not. Interesting they chose that one. Maybe they have an edict for this one. Like this one feels like the bigger threat, knowing that I've got other cards that trigger it. Like, I don't know why you would keep giving me bodies when the health was inconsequential, but what do I know?
I've got you covered.
Behold my power.
So, we will make a wolf. Important to know that this does trigger for this. I mean, it's health gain, but I did that fast, so if you're wondering, I attacked and then hit end turn, but it's not like this doesn't resolve
Behold my power.
during the normal course of things.
I have many important things
Oh.
on my mind.
I was gonna say, so eventually they're gonna run into the position where
Slay the unworthy.
they have to consider giving me runes. So though it would appear today is not that day.
Soldiers, report.
Your orders, your orders.
We don't really have a lot of reach in here. So trying to outrace him with no board presence is a bit of a bummer.
Should have been more worthy.
We'll see about this.
A little distraction
Yeah.
might prove useful.
We'll do it field so that we can maybe contest this. Again, with 11 Magicka and 4 cards in hand, I'd be shocked if that thing sticks around, but...
Perhaps we can help one another.
That probably seals it. I'm not sure that we can effectively come back from that, right? This lethal is a bit of a problem because I would love, love, love to lion over there, and I effectively can't. So it's probably lion, then trade, trade, colossi.
Into the breach.
Behold my power.
And then pray, since our opponent has lethal on board plus cards in hand. Yeah, this game did not go well. It didn't go well for a number of reasons. One, I misidentified what we were playing against so we had that low tempo turn where I could have flooded the board and I didn't. 2, I had the massive misplay around the first rune, which cost me pretty significantly. It not only meant that I lost my Disciple of Namira, but it meant that I drew one less card on top of it.
We'll see about this.
I was just kind of all around tilted there
Sorry it had to come to this.
and made some pretty severe play mistakes. Need to exhibit mental toughness.
You must be cleansed.
They're doing an awful lot for somebody who has lethal on the board, and they choose to not risk it. Interesting. Too bad this is end of my turn, so that I can't fetch something. I mean, the only thing I can think of is that maybe they're trying to set it up so this skips the last rune or something, but... that was still pretty risky. I can get it to where this says 6, 8, still not enough.
There's a plan. There's always a plan.
Maybe we can just see what we draw, but again, it doesn't matter. Like, the game is over. The game was over last turn. I just don't know what was going on there.
This.
This was a worthy contest.
Alright, so the well dried up. I made play mistakes. That was just kind of all around my fault. Hey, look, I got a title though. 10 blood magic spells, alright. So that one's entirely my fault for a number of reasons. So we're going to try to shake that off and give her another go. See if we can try to steal at least one win here. Because while I don't think this deck is particularly good, I think that this deck is interesting. I think it's really good against aggressive strategies, but probably not very great against mid-range like we just saw. So if like
Welcome.
crazy hard aggro, that looks good. If crazy hard aggro ever becomes part of the meta, I think that this could actually be decent, could actually win you some games. But against like value mid-range decks, and that's a lot of what the ladder is right now. I'm
Just tell me
personally
who needs
experiencing
blood,
that anyway.
I smell the stench
I
of the
think that
living.
this is going to struggle. Tribunal mid-range has been creeping up. Dagoth mid-range is certainly still a thing, and then the warrior is still floating around. And all of those, as one might imagine, are pretty good. Well, the Withered Hand
Wrong
Cultist
place
is
for a midnight stroll.
certainly not our friend at the moment. Certainly not our friend at all.
Feel my wrath.
Careful there, friend.
A dark omen for you. Don't mess with me.
Well, what we're gonna do is to gain some health first, and then even though we don't get the plot, we don't have anything else to do. We're gonna go ahead and just develop that there, because it also means that if he takes this value trade, these can potentially clean this up. Also, it at least gives us something on the board because the following turn is looking like a Divine Fervor. Yeah.
A dark omen for you.
Your blood will spill!
So he does take the trade. Oh.
Feel my wrath.
A little distraction might
Sure.
prove useful.
Chimera
I know that we have to deal with that, but developing fervor means that
Behold
this
my
value trades as well.
I hear and
And we do have edict potentially for that the following turn. It just means taking some more damage, but we do actually have a decent amount of health gain as well. So we're going to try to rely on that. I mean, we don't have it in hand, but I mean, we know that we run it in the deck because we gained like 1,000,000 health last turn. So,
My wrath.
or excuse me, last game, not last turn.
Strong arm is what you need.
by
We're
the
going to do our
they will
best
meet their
to
makers.
try to ride that pony.
Wait! Did you hear that? Into the breach! Behold my power.
Alright. So hopefully the defenses gums them up a little bit. That'll give us a lot of flexibility the following turn. Depending on what he does, we could take some trades and then play the Sorcerer and Pit Lion. Sorcerer, Pit Lion, and a Marked Man. Okay, so... Okay.
Behold
So we're gonna,
my
this is gonna go
power.
face, so we want to resolve that first. And then our path is Pit Lion,
Wait!
Marked
Did you
Man,
hear that? I'll take them with me!
this will go here. This will go here. Actually, that was a play mistake. Probably should have traded there. Because if they reward that, he gets more value. But at the point that he gets... He already has one tome, and if he's getting a second tome off, probably not in our
We draw power from their blood.
realm of possibilities here. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is if he actually uses the second tome after warding there, then the game has went on significantly longer than I expected to. That being said, again, probably still a play mistake. Though the item discount might matter. We don't know what other items they are potentially running, so... Maybe not. Maybe it's not a play mistake. I guess I can mentally make an argument for either one. So right now we have to not die. We have to have 6 damage survive. So, alright, the trade is a really good sign for us. Because with the ring, a mace and or a lightning bolt would have represented lethal.
The forest will not suffer your presence.
Alright. So that should be it for us.
You will feed my clan.
As we do that,
I'll take them with me.
that, and land the drain life. So we did actually sneak out one victory. I feel really bad about that first game. That was a monumental screw up on my part. So, yeah, Token Spell Sword. This is meant to be a little bit more grindy. This is certainly not aggressive. This is not like Token Mage or Token Crusader. I think this one is more attrition-based, health gain-based, obviously. And this was the best I could come up with for trying to make use of the new monthly card, so hopefully you enjoyed the games, despite my absolutely monumental screw-up there. I feel really bad about that, guys, so yeah. As always, thanks for watching. Until next time, may you walk on warm sands.